In April 2027, the rules for your pension are changing. Everything you've been told about leaving your pension untouched to save on tax, that advice is about to become a financial trap. Today, we're looking at 5 habits that used to be smart but could backfire starting April next year. Welcome back to Money Under the Microscope, where we make finance clear. Right, number 1, treating the pension as untouchable. If you had cash savings, ISAs, investments, and a pension, the pension was probably the last thing you planned to touch. And that wasn't bad thinking. Under the old rules, unused pension money could pass outside your estate for inheritance tax. So the strategy was simple. Live off everything else first, preserve the pension, and pass it on clean. And that logic is now weaker. Because from April 2027, your pension pot may be counted as part of your estate for inheritance tax, which means it's no longer automatically the most efficient thing to leave to your family. It might still be valuable. The tax advantages during your lifetime don't disappear, but the idea that it's the obvious pot to leave untouched no longer holds by default. So the question changes. Not, I don't touch the pension, but why am I not touching the pension? Because here's the key point. Taking money out of your pension with no real plan is not a strategy. What you do with it is the strategy going forward. If you withdraw pension money and just park it in a bank account, in a lot of cases all you've done is just move the money from one part of the estate to another. You haven't really improved anything, you've just moved the problem. Stop treating the pension as untouchable by default. Start asking whether it still makes sense to leave it alone. Those are 2 very different things. Number 2, taking too little in drawdown. Most retirement planning conversations are about the danger of taking too much from your pension, and that danger is real. Take too much too early, sequence of returns goes against you, you run out of money, we know this. But for some people, particularly those with larger pension pots and other assets to live on, the risk runs the other way. They take almost nothing, tiny withdrawals or none at all, because they want to preserve the pot for the children. Under the old rules, that could be powerful planning. Leave the pension untouched, it sits outside the estate, and your beneficiaries inherit it cleanly. After 2027, a large untouched drawdown pot sitting inside your estate for inheritance tax purposes is a very different proposition. Doing nothing may now be the expensive decision. So the question isn't just, am I taking too much? It might also become, am I taking too little? Could you use the pension more actively to fund your retirement and reduce the pot over time? Could withdrawals be spread across tax years to keep the income tax manageable? Could some of it support your family now while you're alive to see it? This isn't about draining the pot. Draining a pension without a plan is its own kind of reckless. It's about making sure your drawdown level reflects the rules that are about to apply, not the ones that used to. Number 3. Taking tax-free cash with no purpose. Okay, let's look at 2 opposite mistakes with the same underlying problem. Mistake 1. Someone reaches 55, sees they can take their 25% of their pension tax-free, and takes the lot immediately because it feels like found money. Then you've got mistake 2. Someone leaves their tax-free cash completely untouched for years because they don't need it and don't think about touching it again. Both can be wrong. Tax-free cash is exactly what it says. Cash that comes out of your pension without an income tax bill attached. That's genuinely valuable. But here's what it isn't. It isn't a solution to inheritance tax just by existing. If you take £85,000 tax-free cash and drop it into a savings account, that £85,000 is still in your estate. You've changed the wrapper, you haven't changed the exposure. And as we said previously, taking it isn't the strategy, it's what you do with it that's the strategy. For example, does it clear a debt? Or fund something specific in your retirement? Or it could even go to gifting to your family? Or it might even just form part of a longer term income plan? Then it's doing a job. Or is it just sat in a current account because you took it and weren't sure what came next? Tax-free cash should have a purpose. And after 2027, the question of when to take it and what happens to it afterwards becomes more important, not less. Number 4. Comparing pensions and ISAs too simply. You'll hear people say, just spend the pension before the ISA. That's too simple. And in some cases, it's flat wrong. Here's the actual picture. An ISA is usually inside your estate for inheritance tax. It always has been. And from April 2027, most unused pension pots will also be inside your estate. So if you're thinking that swapping from one to the other automatically solves an inheritance tax problem, it doesn't. If both pots count towards your estate, moving money between them doesn't change the total. The real difference is how the money is taxed when you actually take it out. ISA withdrawals are tax-free. Pull money out, no income tax bill. Pension withdrawals, apart from the tax-free cash element, is taxable income. And there's another layer. If someone dies after the age of 75, their beneficiaries may pay income tax when they eventually draw that inherited pension money. So in some cases, you could have inheritance tax on the estate first and then income tax on the same pot later. More on that on another video. That doesn't mean pensions suddenly are a bad idea. Tax relief on contributions, employer contributions, salary sacrifice, those advantages are still real. But it does mean the comparison between pensions and ISAs needs to be done properly. Not ISA good or pensions bad, that's a slogan, not a strategy. The right question is, which pot, taken when, creates what tax now and later? That's the conversation worth having. And number 5, leaving your pension admin as a mess. This one isn't glamorous. It's also non-negotiable. A lot of people have pensions scattered across multiple providers. One from an employer 15 years ago, one from a job before that. A personal pension open and half forgotten about. Maybe a small pot from somewhere they barely even remember working. It all sounds too familiar, right? Up until now, that was just messy. But come April next year, it becomes a liability and could become a real problem for the people you leave behind. If pensions are included in your estate for inheritance tax, they need to be identified, valued, and reported. That job is hard enough without handing someone a puzzle. Don't leave your family a pension scavenger hunt. Find every pension you have. Know roughly what each is worth. Check who is nominated to receive each one, because an old nomination form with an ex-partner's name on it or a parent who died years ago is not a plan. It's a problem waiting to happen at the worst possible moment. And be careful before you consolidate everything just because it looks tidier. Some older pensions carry protected tax-free cash, guaranteed annuity rates, or benefits that simply don't survive a transfer. Get organised first, get advice second, and take action third. The 2027 change doesn't make pensions bad. Tax relief on contributions, employer matching, salary sacrifice, the ability to build a retirement income that actually lasts. None of that goes away. What changes is this. Some pension habits that used to be clever are now running on autopilot, long after the logic behind them stopped applying. Leaving the pension untouched by default, taking almost nothing in drawdown, grabbing tax-free cash without a plan, making lazy comparisons between pensions and ISAs, and leaving all pensions scattered with outdated nominations. All 5 deserve a fresh look. The question was never whether pensions are good or bad. It's whether your pension strategy was built for a set of rules that no longer exist. In the next video, we'll walk through what actually happens to your pension when you die after 75. Because in some cases, your family could end up paying tax twice on the same money. If you found this video useful, please like, share and subscribe to Money Under the Microscope, where we make finance clear. And this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. If you're not sure what a good advisor looks like, there's a video in the description that breaks that down properly. See you on the next one.